Okay, we have 2 minutes. Oh, good morning. I'd like to call to order the June 1st, 2026 meeting of the California High-Speed Rail Authority Board of Directors. Welcome to everyone here in the audience and to those of you joining us remotely. I'm Lynn Shank. I'm the, I guess, the longest serving member of the Board of Directors, and I will preside this morning very briefly until we elect our new leadership. So would the board secretary please call the roll?
Director Schenk,
Present.
Director Cava,
Present.
Director Camacho,
Present.
Director Elliott, Director Perea,
Here.
Director Escutia,
Here.
Director Williams,
Here.
Director Worth,
Here.
Director Cohen,
Here.
Assembly Member Carrillo,
Here.
Senator Caballero. We have a quorum.
Thank you. So we have a quorum present, so we may proceed, and would ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and ask Director Senator Escutia if you would lead us, please. Thank you, Madam Chair. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please. So today is somewhat unusual. We're deviating from our regular proceedings, as you can see, because it's election day, our high-speed rail board, a day ahead of the state. Before we turn to public comment, which will be after the elections, I do want to say a few remarks. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here. I think we will all have a more formal occasion to thank our former chair and vice chair, Tom Richards and Nancy Miller. But I'm going to take a moment just to say that Tom, to me anyway, it was the exemplar of what Alexis de Tocqueville wrote about centuries ago, the citizen volunteer. He devoted his time, his energy, and his money to this for the better part of 16 years. And later today, we're going to be reaching a very significant milestone in one of our agenda items. And it's really in no small measure that we are at this point because of Tom's dedication, his patience, and his wisdom. So Tom, if you're listening, a personal thank you and that on behalf of your former colleagues here for your contribution. And the same for Nancy Miller, with her deep and extensive experience in state government and her very sharp legal mind. She was the perfect partner to Tom in providing steadfast leadership. But today is the start of a new era for high-speed rail. And I will once again assert the privilege of having the gavel. You see, give me a little power. And I will take the honor of making the nomination for chair, and I nominate Steve Cava as the next chair. Steve is steeped in the nuance of California's complexity. He has a very rich background in public service, including having served as chief of staff to then Mayor Gavin Newsom in San Francisco. Steve is known for no-nonsense common sense and for pragmatic and strategic thinking. And I personally have already had the opportunity to see how quickly he gets to the heart of an issue. So it is my privilege to nominate Steve Cava as the next
Second.
chair of the California High-Speed Rail Authority. Is there a second? It's seconded by Director Camacho. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none, the nominations are closed. It's been moved and seconded that Director Cava serve as chair of the California High-Speed Rail Authority Board of Directors. And I ask the secretary to please call the roll for the vote.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Director Kava,
Aye.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Director Elliott,
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Director Williams,
Aye.
Director Worth,
Yes.
Director Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
It's been unanimous, so Steve, congratulations and condolences. We'll now proceed with the election of the vice chair. Nominations are now open for the election of vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Director Williams for the position of Vice Chair of California High Speed Rail.
Seconded by Director Cohen. Is there a second?
Second.
2 seconds.
I'll defer down the other line.
Okay. Moved and seconded that Director Williams serve as vice chair of the board. Board secretary, please call the roll for the vote.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Director Kava,
Aye.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Director Elliott,
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Director Williams,
Aye.
Director Worth,
Yes.
and Director Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Unanimous. Congratulations and condolences.
Yeah.
So Director Cava, I now cede reluctantly, I know, the gavel to you to take over. I'll shut the.
Oh, that's
the chair, right? Because is this on? Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Everybody's so quiet. Well, I have a few comments to make too, and if you would allow me, I want to begin by thanking my fellow directors for their support on becoming chair. I also want to congratulate our new vice chair, Vice Chair Williams. And of course, I want to thank the governor, Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom, thank you for appointing me to this authority board. I have worked with the governor since the 1990s. We have worked on many important issues and programs together. I know how important high-speed rail is to him and his belief that this project will result in many benefits and a brighter future for California. I share that belief. This is a big, bold, and consequential project. I am honored to be part of ensuring California and Californians reap its benefits. Today marks an important moment of transition for the authority. First, I want to recognize outgoing board chair Tom Richards and vice chair Nancy Miller for their leadership and service. They helped steward this program through a critical phase, from planning, environmental work, right-of-way, and major civil construction. Their leadership helped bring the authority to a point we have now reached, preparing to lay track and transform completed infrastructure into an operating railroad. Today is also a pivotal moment for the program because two major actions are coming together today before the board. First, the board is considering the track and systems construction contract, the moment this program moves from major civil construction to building and operating the nation's first true high-speed rail system. Second, the board is considering the 2026 business plan, which lays out the path for how this program evolves beyond the infrastructure under construction today into a statewide transportation system connecting California's major population and economic centers through the Central Valley. Together, these actions represent a turning point for this program. For years, the authority has focused on planning, environmental clearance, right-of-way acquisitions, and delivering the civil infrastructure necessary to make high-speed rail possible. But today, the conversation changes. Track and system construction is in the moment this project truly begins to become a railroad. And the business plan defines how the railroad grows into a financially sustainable statewide system that serves the people of California. This matters because high-speed rail is not just a transportation project. High-speed rail is one of the few investments capable of addressing so many of the challenges Californians face. Affordability, housing access, economic mobility, access to jobs and education, climate goals, and stronger statewide economic connectivity. That is why today matters. This is not just about approving another construction contract or considering another planning document. This is a turning point. It is the moment this program begins moving from the promise of high-speed rail to the reality of high-speed rail. And I look forward to working with my fellow board members, the administration, the authority team, local, state, and federal officials in communities across the state to help deliver the nation's first true high-speed rail system for the people of California. Thank you. So let's get to work. I believe the first item is the public comment period. As is the board's practice, we will now open public comment for any item on today's agenda, as well as matters within the authority's jurisdiction. Would the board secretary please provide instructions for public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin public comment for the California High-Speed Rail Board of Directors meeting, I would like to review some important information. For members of the public who have joined us in person and wish to provide public comment, you will be called up in the order we received your card. If you are joining the meeting via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the Raise Your Hand feature located at the bottom of the app. Speakers will be called on in the order their hands are raised. Once you are in the queue and your name is called, please click the prompt on your screen to allow your microphone to be unmuted. If we have any callers joining by phone, I will give you instructions on how you can make a public comment following the Zoom participants. All speakers will be given 2 minutes to speak. I will remind you when you have 15 seconds remaining. When it is your turn to speak, please slowly and clearly say your first and last name, and if applicable, please state the organization you are representing. We will begin with the in-person speakers. Our first speaker is Frank Quintero, followed by Jay Schlosser.
Good morning, Chair Cava, Vice Chair Williams, and board members. My name is Frank Quintero, Deputy City Manager for the City of Merced. The city is grateful for the meetings that have taken place between the Merced City Rail Subcommittee and high-speed rail staff and leadership. As we continue to understand each other's positions, we increase knowledge, enabling us to develop mutually beneficial solutions. As the 2026 business plan and supporting technical document are adopted and move forward, the city continues to request ongoing discussions regarding changes to SB 198 and the High-Speed Rail Authority's desire to form a tax increment district as well as local land use control near the station. Furthermore, the people are looking forward to an opportunity to get a preview of the station area itself and also the design, the future design of the station at Mission Avenue, Highway 99, and the Union Pacific Railroad. It's exciting to read read press releases about the potential construction that will be taking place between Madera to Merced, and we are looking forward to that construction taking place. No doubt that much work is required for the first segment of the high-speed rail project to be fully functional by 2032. We appreciate the vision that is reflected in the business plan and the work that has been put forth by CEO Chowdhury and the staff. Upon adoption of the 2026 business plan, the City of Merced and other local stakeholders look forward to meeting with high-speed rail staff to develop a strategic plan
15
to
seconds.
realize the station at the new location. Thank you for your interest in working with us.
Next up is Jay Schlosser, followed by Josh Pedroza.
Good morning. My name is Jay Schlosser. I'm the Kern Council of Governments Executive Director. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. Just a couple of comments for you. As way of background for Kern County, I would say to you all that I recognize a great deal of change has occurred here at High Speed Rail. There's been a massive change in staff over the last couple of years, and then the 2026 business plan represents some significant change as it relates to Kern County in general. So I'm here this morning to talk to you briefly about that change. I'd like to first say that that change what came with some of that change is some broken communication. Kern County's been an active member in working through the business plans for about 20 years. I'm new to my post at KernCog, but I had a chance to review our files, and they're pretty extensive how much time KernCog and the member agencies down in Kern have spent working on high-speed rail. I would report, and then with the change in board leadership here relatively abruptly just a few weeks ago, Tom Richards was a staple in Kern County. He came and visited us on a regular basis. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to rebuilding those relationships with some of you. But change is major. A lot of changes occurred. So the 2026 business plan came out, and I would say to you that I don't think the communication leading up to the release of that document was sufficient to capture or address the changes proposed in Kern County. And so I want to say, though, on a positive note, I'd give staff a great deal of credit. They have responded to Kern County's concerns regarding this change by coming to meet with us. I would specifically note Ian's leadership. Mark, Daniel, Bassam, and Peter have all been communicating effectively with Kern County as we try to figure out how to address all of that change. So my request to you this morning is simple, as it relates to the plan for what will occur in Kern County, we need a little bit more time to work through what's being proposed. In fact, we had, I think, our first meaningful engineering level meeting just last week. And so I know that you'll be looking here under item 4 at the business plan, and I know you've got a lot of vision set in that document that, again, changes the direction of high-speed rail. I think as it relates to Kern County, our request is simple, though, which is to either hold off on approving that document this morning and give it a little bit more time, or at least hold off on the section in Kern County. And I would only say this, which is in 10 years, no one's going to remember what I said standing here. They're going to remember what was written in the document. That's the importance of writing those documents and why I presume the legislature mandated that high-speed rail do this every 2 years, is they document the plan going forward. So that, at the heart of it, is what our concern is in Kern County, that we have a plan that simply hasn't been worked out between the Kern agencies and high-speed rail. And so we would sincerely like to not see those changes memorialized in the document until such time as we've had a chance to make sure they function for all agencies. Thank you very much.
Next up is Josh Pedroza, followed by Keith Dunn.
Good morning, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the California High-Speed Rail Authority for its continued work with Merced County on the development of this business plan. Merced County recognizes the impact high-speed rail will have on our region. As part of the initial operating segment, we support a practical and forward-looking approach to addressing California's long-term transportation needs. This project will improve mobility, strengthen regional connectivity, create economic opportunity, and deliver long-term benefits for residents across the Central Valley. We also recognize there are differing views and ongoing concerns about the project. Even so, it is important to focus on ensuring it delivers real, measurable benefits, including reduced congestion on Highway 99, expanded transportation options, and progress toward California's environmental goals. I want to acknowledge the collaborative work between the authority, the City of Merced, the County of Merced, and the Merced County Association of Governments. And as reflected in the project update report included in the business plan, this coordination identified an opportunity to relocate the Merced Station from its previous downtown site, helping defer major capital costs and reduce disruption while preserving future options. A South Merced Station would provide greater access to UC Merced, the Merced Yosemite Regional Airport, and future growth areas of the city while maintaining connections to downtown. This is a choice I believe is grounded in common sense, not politics. Downtown Merced has taken years of investment and effort to revitalize, and it remains the heart of the city and a key part of my district. It has also recently been designated as one of California's 10 new state cultural districts by the California Arts Council, joining a network of communities recognized for their unique cultural and artistic identity. Any disruption to the downtown area risks impacting the arts, something that I'm very passionate about.
15 seconds.
Culture and economic momentum that has been built there. As a locally elected official in Merced County, I believe it is my responsibility to ensure Merced County has a seat at the table and that the interests of our residents, businesses, and communities are represented throughout this process. We remain committed to ongoing cooperation and communication with the authority and our regional partners as the project moves forward. The business plan reflects commitments made to Merced County, and it is important that those commitments are followed through, which I believe they are. We will continue working to ensure this investment delivers for our residents and future generations. Thank you.
Vice Chair Williams.
Supervisor Pedroza, I just wanted to thank you for your tenacity and your just sheer will and commitment to staying committed to working with us and partnering with us. We've had a lot of conversations. I just want to acknowledge you too, Ian, and your staff and the sea change that I think that has occurred as reflected in your testimony today, and just want to continue to extend my hand in partnership and working with you and the folks of Merced County. I didn't get a chance to make this comment to the representative from the Kern County COG, but as a Bakersfield boy, you always have access to me as well. If you're unable to reach me, you can walk down the street to my mother who's still there and put her on me, which would light my fire more than anything. But again, these are important conversations. We hear you, we understand the need to make sure that we continue to work with you in partnership, and you have our full commitment to doing that.
Next up is Keith Dunn, followed by Robert Phipps.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome to the High Speed Rail Authority. We're glad to have you here, and thank you, Chairman Williams, for your volunteering to be vice chair. I want to start out by thanking former chair and vice chair Richards and Miller for their service. They did a critical job when it was a difficult time for this project, so we want to recognize them. And also, I'm here for the State Building Construction Trades Council. I want to call out specifically in the building, in the business plan, the honesty that was brought to that discussion from the Building Construction Trades Council. We appreciate the acknowledgement of the challenges that need to be addressed with regards to third-party utility relocation, some other specific impediments to construction that really are members of the legislature that sit on this panel, Senator Caballero and Assemblyman Carrillo. We look forward to working with you to make sure that those have an opportunity to be addressed even in this last part of the session. There's a couple key elements that I think could really enhance the ability to build more efficiently, which is a good service to our taxpayers and precedes the ability to get this done better and faster. So I want to congratulate the authority for the business plan. I look forward to you endorsing that today. I also want to welcome the opportunity to have this new construction contract considered. I think building in the Central Valley, we're getting to a phase where our citizens not only are seeing the structures, but are also going to see some of these tracks being laid by our good union workers and workforce that's been employed in the Valley. It's critically important that we continue to lay tracks and build towards our future. The high-speed rail is not just a transportation system. It's really a lifeline, not only for the Valley, but California, and I believe eventually the United States. So the Building Construction Trades Council are very pleased to see this moving forward. We encourage your support We would like to invite everyone that's here today to join us in the west steps of the Capitol today at 2:00 following your meetings and deliberations to hopefully celebrate what we think is going to be a monumental decision, hopefully by this board
15
moving
seconds.
forward. So with that, I would just thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions if you have them. Thanks.
Next up is Robert Phipps, followed by Marcus Detweiler.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Robert Phipps with the Fresno Council of Governments. Thank you again for working with us as you have with all of our peers in the San Joaquin Valley in good partnership and faith. I'm here to address item 5 with the heavy maintenance facility and to remind the board that the Fresno County Transportation Authority has $4.5 million set aside for the heavy maintenance facility. That would require a cooperative agreement with FCTA to be approved, but it is set aside at this point for that. And so we are very appreciative that and encouraged by the staff report that demonstrates the commitment that the authority has placed in Fresno at this point for the maintenance facility, and look forward to continuing our work with you on that. And we appreciate your time and effort, and a special shout out to former Chairman Richards, who is a good friend of ours. Thank you so much.
Our final in-person speaker will be Marcus Detweiler.
And Robert, thank you for taking the time to come up today. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Chair and members. Marcus Detweiler with the California Special Districts Association. The California Special Districts Association, CSDA, joined other local government stakeholders in submitting comments related to the draft business plan when it was unveiled and made available for feedback from the public. Unfortunately, it appears that the revised business plan before you today for consideration retains some problematic elements, and that I'm specifically referring to the elements that refer to the tax increment financing and certain elements related to the local jurisdiction land use decisions and land use authority. The California Special Districts Association would like to take this opportunity to reaffirm its stance that any tax increment financing should be based only on participation of affected taxing agencies that is girded by their express, meaningful, and freely given consent, and that we would continue to scrutinize any of these conversations related to land use and utility relocations. Thank you.
We will now move to our Zoom participants. Once again, if you are joining the meeting via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature located at the bottom of your screen. Our first Zoom participant will be Gary Hallen, followed by Zem Lasky.
Good morning, Gary Hallen. I'm with the City of Bakersfield. I'm the Assistant City Manager. Appreciate the time that we have to share kind of where we have gone. I've been to this board before back in February and asked for more communication. I asked for a seat at the table. I will say we're getting better. Ian and his team have come down to Bakersfield and had 3 meetings in the last 3 months. So it's good to see that improvement. However, there's still some concerns specifically with the business plan. I'll echo the comments of Jay Slosser, our Kern County Executive Director, Kern COG Executive Director, that we do feel like there's still some problems that we see in the business plan. We had expressed unitedly as both City of Bakersfield, City of Wasco, and City of Shafter and Kern County, some of the areas of concern. Those are getting better by having discussions and dialogue. But a seat at the table does not mean a few meetings. We want to have continued conversation. We want to see improvements. We've had discussions about the temporary station that's outside of downtown. That's still a concern for the City of Bakersfield. We have talked about and had discussions for a very long time about a downtown station. We know that that's not been taken off the table, but we want timeline commitments and commitments of priority and prioritization, that the downtown station is still on the priority line. We know that 2032, 2038 is this temporary station. So does that mean a downtown world-class station, which has been promised by the governor, by several, to our mayor Karen Go? Will that happen in 30 years, 20 years? We would just
15
like to have
seconds.
more discussion, more conversation. Conversation's been good, but we still need that seat at the table to be able to feel like we are a partner in this, and decisions are being made in consultation with us as should be. Thank you.
Our next Zoom speaker will be Zem Lasky, followed by Joseph Mello. Apologies if I've mispronounced any names.
No, not at all. Can you guys hear me? I'm Zem Lasky. I'm representing myself in San Jose, and congratulations to all the new board members. I want to speak about the star of today's show, HSR 25-89, the track and signaling proposal. And initially, I wanted to climb on a soapbox and give a mini spiel, but I usually don't do it well, so I'll just jump straight to my question. And the question is this: what sort of legal authority or legal opinion led you to believe that either A, the proposed contract is not a no-bid contract, or B, that it is a no-bid contract, but there are purportedly exigent circumstances that allow for this contract to be signed? And I know you guys have 25 minutes that you set aside for item 3 on the agenda, and perhaps we can discuss this. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Next up is Joseph Mello, followed by Letty Valencia.
Hello. Okay. Today I'd like to comment. I'm Joseph Mello from Visalia, California. For the co-development agreement, the CDA request for qualifications, I understand data centers are mentioned. As a potential rail user, I do not want to ride through a valley of data centers or be subjected to the pollution that comes from these data centers. I know, as emission of the high-speed rail, we want to reduce emissions and move towards clean energy. So I please urge you guys to please just limit our use of this move towards private funding. Keeping these data centers limited if it's very necessary for funding and they are regulated properly. I would appreciate that. And I also want to say congratulations to the new appointees. I'm excited to see where this project is going to go. I've grown up seeing the progress and driving past the construction, hearing of people having jobs be created by this. So I pray that you do this in good faith. Please consider the limitation of data centers and the protection of our air. Thank you. That's all I have today. Thank you for your time.
Next up is Letty Valencia, followed by Blanca Ojeda.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Letty Valencia. I'm the Director of Organizing for Faith in the Valley. And this morning I'll be reading a letter on behalf of a few organizations. Dear members of the board, on behalf of California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation, Valley Onward, Líderes Campesinas, Jacara Movement, Faith in the Valley, Central Valley Empowerment Alliance, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Union, and the Center on Race, Poverty, and the Environment, we request that the High-Speed Rail Authority reject the draft 2026 business plan and technical appendices, or at the very least postpone the vote to allow for robust public participation and dialogue on the significant changes proposed and to remedy its numerous deficiencies. Overall, the plan proposes to diminish the scale and scope of the high-speed rail project in the Central Valley without providing the clarity or transparency needed to evaluate the plan. The plan lists a number of statutory requirements its business plan must meet, as well as the corresponding sections in the plan it believes meets those requirements. However, the level of detail in those sections is not sufficient to meet the statutory requirements. There are three primary areas where the lack of transparency is of most concern. First, the process for approving this plan lacks transparency and accountability to decades of past public comment and public participatory planning processes. Second, the plan proposes several significant changes to the high-speed rail project, particularly decreasing the scope of the project in the Central Valley hidden in its technical appendices of the plan. Third, the plan discusses several possibilities for revenue generation, but does not provide any information about the land use authority or impacts associated with sitting these projects along its route. The High-Speed
15
Rail
seconds.
Authority should not approve the plan until these deficiencies are remedied.
Our next speaker will be Blanca Ojeda, followed by Joseph Ariola.
Good afternoon. I will continue reading the letter previously read from Letty Valencia. The process for commenting on the plan and the changes in the High-Speed Rail Authority Board composition reduces transparency and accountability to the Central Valley. Initially, the High-Speed Rail Authority scheduled a hearing to approve the plan on April 29th, 2 days before the statutory deadline for submitting the plan to the legislator. That signals that the High-Speed Rail Authority never intended to meaningfully consider feedback or public comment. The High-Speed Rail Authority then postponed voting on the plan until June 1st, the day before the California primary, which includes continuous race for governor. The process selected by the High-Speed Rail Authority seems designed to limit public participation and disclosure. The documents lack transparency on the scope of the proposed changes. There has been no response or changes to the plan based on the comments received, and the High-Speed Rail Authority is moving forward with a vote at time when interested organizations and the public are preoccupied with a significant election. In addition, the narrative for the draft business plan staff recommended edits was released 2 business days before the board hearing, which does not comply Bailey-Keene Act, Government Code 11-120. This will be the final business plan, and the public has not had the opportunity to review the comments. The High-Speed Rail Authority has already missed its statutory deadline. There is little benefit to quickly voting on flawed plan that has not been significantly vetted or scrutinized. In addition, the High-Speed Rail Board composition has changed since the April 29th meeting, postponing the vote on the plan. Since then, the governor has replaced board chair Tom Richards from Fresno and vice chair Nancy Miller from Sacramento with 2 new appointees
15
from San
seconds.
Francisco. Thank you.
Next up will be Joseph Ariola, followed by Damon Conklin. Make sure to unmute using the button at the bottom of the screen. There you go.
Good morning, Director Kawa and members of the board. My apologies. Joseph Ariola from the County of Kern, a member organization of the Kern Council of Governments. I echo the comments of the Kern Council of Governments in the city of Bakersfield. However, it is my request that this board reschedule item number 5, an informational item to update the board of directors on the Central Valley Heavy Maintenance Facility Site Selection Report. Item number 5 does not include the alternative site nomination from the city of Wasco in Kern Council of Governments, an option afforded to other regions. Additionally, when clarification was requested, the High-Speed Rail Authority stated decision criteria included factual inaccuracies regarding the alternative, including the Wasco South site selection being located on the opposite side of the freight mainline tracks from the High-Speed Rail Authority. This is inaccurate. The Wasco site requiring the construction of significant new rail overcrossings and pergola structures immediately adjacent to downtown Wasco. This also is inaccurate. Again, it is requested that this board reconsider this item at a later date following review of the alternative submission by the city of Wasco and Kern Council of Governments.
Our next speaker will be Damon Conklin, followed by Norma Cardona.
Hello, Damon Conklin with the League of California Cities. Just wanted to express our opposition to the draft business plan item related to seeking authority to establish a state-controlled tax increment financing district, as well as land use authority within a 1/2 mile radius of proposed stations. We recognize the significant financial challenges facing the high-speed rail project and appreciate the authority's efforts to identify innovative funding strategies. The proposed value capture framework raises to us profound legal, fiscal, and policy concerns for local governments and the communities that we serve. During recent legislative hearings, high-speed rail staff repeatedly were vague about how a TIF would be structured, only replying that conversations were in the early stages and that it would need to align with the state budget. That is very concerning for us, as we believe at its core, the proposed business plan, if compulsory for cities, is a direct attempt to divert local controlled tax revenues and undermine voter-approved constitutional protections. We're supportive of statewide infrastructural investments, and we want our constituents to benefit from modern infrastructure. And so our opposition is how that infrastructure is funded, not whether it should exist. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be Norma Cardona, followed by iPhone.
I'm Norma Cardona, and I'm a Merced resident, small business owner, and UC Merced alumna. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the authority. Congratulations on your new leadership, and thank you to the previous Chair and Vice Chair. Thank you for working with Merced elected offices and officials and city administrators to ensure that Merced stayed in the Central Valley Strip. Now, I want to be direct. I support the high-speed rail. I wholeheartedly support the high-speed rail. I believe in its promise of economic growth and environmental sustainability and social equity for communities like mine in the Central Valley that have waited decades to be connected. But I cannot support this business plan as written, and specifically the proposal site of battery storage facilities and data centers along the corridor. The plan calls these assets a path to clean energy and financial stability, but the battery storage systems carry a serious and documented safety risk: thermal runaway fires. These fires are extraordinarily difficult to extinguish, and they release toxic, hazardous emissions into the air and soil of the very disinvested communities that the high-speed rail is supposed to lift up. We must not let the language of opportunity overshadow the environmental burden. Additionally, data centers carry their own costs, which includes massive water consumption, which the Central Valley cannot sustain. And really, as a humankind, we cannot sustain data centers. There's also a lot of heat generation, noise and light pollution, and energy demand that strains the very grid we are trying to clean. Given that the Central Valley's energy costs are already high for consumers, especially during the summer months due to high temperatures and upwards of 100-degree weather, we cannot add to the rising energy cost of the local Central Valley person. Data centers can also introduce several types of pollutants into water systems. These pollutants fall into 3 main categories: biocides, corrosion inhibitors, and heavy metals. I urge this authority to pursue the revenue, yes, but find alternatives that do not ask the San Joaquin Valley to bear the environmental cost of California's progress.
15
and
seconds.
One more thing. I would prefer the Merced station to be downtown where it belongs and where the people are. The platform does not offer equitable access for all residents and will derail the value proposition of the downtown intermodal commuter rail hub. 2 Central Valley communities are positioned not to reap the highest benefits of high-speed rail, which are Merced and Bakersfield, by just building the platforms. And so please, I hope that you reconsider. Thank you so much for your time.
Our next speaker is iPhone, followed by Alejandro Carrillo.
Good morning, Chair and members. Noé Páramo with California Rural Legal Assistance Sustainable Rural Communities Project. On item 4, we oppose adopting the business plan and its appendices at this time. The plan proposes leasing land for data centers as a source of generating revenue. However, the data centers have significant local impacts. This includes impacts on noise, water usage, fire hazards, and increased utility rates. Yet the HRSA is also seeking to streamline the CEQA's environmental review requirements. This will further reduce transparency, public participation, and opportunities for mitigation. A project redesigned to meet the needs of local residents and workers. Several of the proposed land uses do not require many workers during operations. This could result in fewer job opportunities and lost revenue for the local workforce compared to other types of economic development that may arise in response to the rail development. The plan represents a significant shift in the scale of land uses and the scope of authority of HRSA seeks. It requires more disclosure, more public process, and more thoughtful deliberation before approval. The vote should not happen on this plan until these fixes and deficiencies are done. We align our comments with other speakers listed on our comment letter, May 30th, 2026. We encourage the board to work with the community serving organizations that impact Merced and community regions. They listen and know what the needs are of the community. Thank you very much.
Our final Zoom speaker will be Alejandro Carrillo.
Good morning, board. This is Alex Carrillo. I am on the board for the Merced County Arts Council, and we wrote a letter in opposition to the business plan. The Merced County Arts Council's mission is to nurture and inspire the arts and artists in Merced County by cultivating places for discovery, community, and dialogue. In 2025, local artists led by the Merced County Arts Council successfully earned downtown Merced the distinct recognition as a state-designated cultural district by the California Arts Council. A cultural district, as outlined by the program, is a well-defined geographic area with a high concentration of cultural resources and activities. The high-speed rail system promised economic diversification and revitalization to help communities along its line. A concrete platform far removed from Merced's downtown businesses and amenities will deliver little of what initially promised. The proposed changes represent lost opportunities for our local downtown business to serve high-speed rail travelers and visitors to Merced. Lost businesses will mean fewer taxes to support our city services. Many downtown businesses made long-term investments and decisions based on the promise of a downtown station. Moving and downgrading the Merced station to save money in the short term has enhancing the construction of high-speed rail in other areas of the state will have significant and lasting consequences for our city. Please reconsider the plan to move the station out of our downtown area and allow for more opportunity for community engagement, real community voices, and real dialogue, not just with elected officials interested in upward mobility and advancing their careers. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have no other attendees that would like to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The board appreciates the public's comments and participation today. Seeing no additional speakers, public comment is now closed. Now we will transition to the agenda. The first item on the agenda, item number 2, is approval of the April 29th, 2026 board meetings.
Move approval.
I have a motion to approve, seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have a correction. I was the ex officio member that attended that meeting.
Yes.
It was not Senator Gonzalez.
Yes, Senator. I brought that up with staff earlier.
Thank
They
you,
said that they would correct.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Director Elliott and myself will have to abstain from this vote since we were not present at the time of this meeting. Roll call.
Director Schenk,
I abstain. I wasn't here for the meeting.
Director Camacho,
Approving the minutes of the meeting of April 29th.
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia, Vice Chair Williams,
Thank you.
Aye.
Director Worth,
Yes.
and Director Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. We will now move on to the next item, item 3. Approval to award track and systems construction contract. This is an action item. At this time, I invite staff to provide the presentation to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I will recuse myself for this discussion and vote because of my role as CEO of United Contractors.
Thank you very much, Director Cohen.
Good morning. Chair Kava, Vice Chair Williams, Board of Directors. I'm here on behalf of the authority staff to present our findings and recommendations resulting from the track and systems procurement that we brought here back in November of 2025.
Ed, would you speak closer into the microphone,
Sorry.
please?
Yes. Much better, right? The staff is recommending that the board authorize the CEO to award and execute the contract for the track and systems construction to KSWH JV in the amount of the not to exceed of 3.5 billion. Specifically, we're recommending the NTPs today for package 1B and package 2. Our package 1B includes the design development to obtain the deliverables for our OEM procurement, our systems equipment, as well as pre-construction and program management work and estimating for future packages of 5, 6, and 7. This is a not to exceed price of $118 million. The second package is our construction for CP4 for track, civil track and OCS construction. That's a lump sum price of $260 million. The culmination of package 1B and package 2 is a total of $378.9 million. This will allow us to start to get into the track laying phase in 2026, as well as meet our ARA commitments of having infrastructure in place by the end of 2029. Next slide. Just some background. On November 20th, 2025, we came to the board for the approval for the issuance of RFP for track and systems. This consisted of 9 packages. So each package has its own unique and specific NTP that has both cost and schedule associated with each NTP. The scope primarily for the first packages is the 119 mile construction where our existing CP contracts are finishing up to allow for track and systems construction and OCS. And also concurrently, our packaging provides the opportunity to commence design on our systems package in order to be in a position to order long lead materials and to allow the completion of that systems design. Next slide. And just a summary of the contract here. Again, we talked about the NTE, that the 3.5 billion that were brought back in November, the 9 separate packages. So each NTP will require us to collaborate with our partner contractors to develop the scope, cost, and time for the execution. Each of these packages essentially builds on one another. So going forward, each one of those will be a distinct package that we'll bring forth to the board. I wanted to note that this was competitively procured with 2 proposals received for this contract. Go to the next slide, please. Without getting into detail here, here's the summary of the NTP packages that's proposed within the contract itself. And again, I just want to mention that they kind of build on one another. The information from 1B will allow us to go after future packages 5, 6, 7. So you'll be hearing more from us in the future on that. Just a summary of package 1B here that we spoke about. It's a design development to get us to a juncture for the deliverables of the OEM procurement, as well as preparing ourselves for package 5, 6, and 7. In addition, it has our pre-construction and program management work for the entire program. The price again is $118 million for that. Key milestones for us. The preliminary design for systems completion is June 30th, 2027, which is a critical date for us. And next slide will be just a summary of package 2. should be. And again, this is for the CP4 construction for civil track and OCS. The lump sum price is $260 million. We anticipate issuing NTP tomorrow, and this is going to give us a good start on preparing and ensuring that we get track in place by the end of the year. The overhead, the OCS completion date is October 17th, 2027, and track completion is June 14th, 2027. And that's for the initial 22 miles or so of track in our CP4 contract. Slide. Just an overview of the procurement process. This was a one-step procurement process. The proposers submitted both technical and price, and they're evaluated to determine best value for the delivery of the work. As part of the contract, small business commitment goals is 25%, inclusive of 3% carve out for micro businesses, as well as 10% DBE and a 3% DVBE goal. This is applied across the entire contract. Summary of our proposals. The authority issued RFPs back in November 26, 2025. We received two proposals. The first one being from Kiewit, Stacy Whitbeck Herzog, a joint venture, KSWH, and California High Speed Rail Partners. Legal did an OCOI on both proposers. Then we went forth and did a responsiveness check for both proposers. The authority deemed KSWH to be responsive. CHSP was deemed non-responsive due to failing meeting all the requirements of the RFP. We issued notice of proposed award on April 29th, 2026. We did receive a protest from CHSP. And to update, on May 29th, the authority formally dismissed this protest by the authority's protest official. I think we discussed most of this, but this is a kind of summary outline of the procurement, where we started and where we are today, and looking for the contract execution and NTPs going forward. So in summary, we're recommending the board approve to authorize the CEO to execute contract with KSWH for the not to exceed price of $3.5 billion, as well to issue NTPs for both our package 1B and package 2, which will put us in a position to execute track laying this year, as well as achieve our overall schedule goals. And are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Director Shank.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick ones. I know I asked this in the briefing, but I want to get it on the official record. For packages, the notice to proceed packages 3 through 9, will those come back for action by the board?
Yes, they will. Yes.
And on this protest, what is the impact? You're going to do the notice to proceed tomorrow if we take the action that you ask. What is the impact of the protest on on moving forward?
This is Christine Scotty, Chief Counsel. So just to assist Ed, the protest was denied on Friday, so there is no impact. We can move forward to contract execution and issuance of NTPs.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Yes, Director Worth.
Thank you. So help me with a couple of questions. You said it was competitively procured, but there was only one bidder, right? Because the second bidder was removed from the process. So we have a single bidder. We've got two packages of $378 million, but you want to award a $3.5 billion contract to a single bidder that we're going to be locked into for phases 3 through 9?
Yeah, so to answer the first part of your question, we did receive two proposals under a competitive environment from both a technical and cost perspective.
Could you speak up a little bit more?
Can't get much closer. I'm going to eat this thing soon. As I was saying, we did receive two proposals under a competitive environment from both a cost and technical perspective, as outlined in the board resolution itself. So they were under a competitive environment for costing. In addition to that, our internal estimating numbers and reviews had shown that the cost of the proposer was in line with our internal budgets, and that we felt it's appropriate to move forward with this contractor.
The pricing for the second bidder is in this package?
I'm sorry, please say that
The
again.
pricing for the second bidder is in here?
We did not, because they are non-responsive, we did not open the pricing for the second bidder.
Oh, so we don't know what their pricing is?
We do not.
Okay. I don't know. Last month we had another single contract bid for cable trays. Although we were told we're changing the specs so things aren't proprietary, yet last month I was told there's only one bidder that could bid that project. Now we're going to lock ourselves into a single bidder for $3.5 billion with one bid. So the rest of this board will have to help me decide why that's a prudent use of taxpayer dollars. This is not a kitchen remodel, right? I mean, these are massive contracts. So I'm just confused as to why we can't get more clarity and transparency with the market and get better sense of, I mean, I appreciate the internal estimating, but we're not building the project. It's the outside market that tells us what things cost. And if we're only going to one source, I don't know that I know what it costs.
That's a fair assessment. I would say a few things. Firstly, this work is quite specialized. This contract is quite large. There's certainly a lot of outreach done to the market, and this is what the market produced for us. Secondly, this is an open book process for future NTPs, so that we have the ability to go back and negotiate and look at their costs very specifically, dive down, and to ensure that we have proper pricing going forward for each package. Thirdly, under the procurement itself, the proposers were understanding that they're in a competitive pricing environment in order to win the project, which gives us assurance on their pricing, in addition to being consistent with our internal estimating. When we have that pricing, we have future bookends, so to speak, to manage costs going forward for the future CP project packages. In addition, the contract itself incorporates going out to OEM manufacturers for the systems equipment. That'll be an open book process. Those are specialty suppliers, and we'll probably get likely 3 bids for that. So the authority will also be part of that process in selecting that OEM for our system, which also mitigates our risk going forward.
Maybe a tough question. Any sense of what the value on a percentage basis that OEM is versus the rest of the dollars we're talking about here? Is it half? Is it a quarter? Is it 3/4?
Certainly less than half. If I could go back and take a closer look at that.
That's good enough. I mean, I just want to get a sense of scale. On the future, let's just say on package 3 comes in, you said it's open book, which means we get to see all their numbers. We have a dispute over those costs. How do we proceed with a project, which I appreciate everyone is focused on schedule. Schedule can come at a cost, so I'm focusing on cost and schedule. So how do we proceed with a package with a sole bidder that's already locked in if we don't agree with their numbers? What's the process to keep the project moving but get the right price?
Yeah, fair. Of course, we always have the opportunity to off ramp, but that's certainly not what we want to do, to your point, to keep the project going forward. I'll go back to the point being for package 2, we do have pricing with the contractor, so we can see what their productions are, see what their costs are from a labor, equipment, material standpoint, have that as a basis for negotiating going forward. and just have to negotiate and be fair. We have to trust that our partners are going to come to terms with us in regards to pricing, cost, and schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for staff? Yes, Director Perea.
Yeah, Ed, and thank you for the briefing this week. You answered a lot of my questions, but one for today, following up on the questions just asked. Can you talk a little more about the off-ramps? Because that was my concern too. I know we're allocating 3.9 billion to the entire project, and only allocating so many dollars today, but going forward, how do we not be held hostage to performance issues or costs going forward? What are those off-ramps that we have?
Yeah, so essentially, I mean, each package is kind of a standalone. So we go forth for each package for approval from, again, from cost and schedule and terms. Again, certainly not desirable to off-ramp a contractor, right? That's not where we want to go. Again, we're going to have to, I think we're invested, our partners are invested in getting this project right. And we have a lot of institutional knowledge as far as what costs and schedule should be. And we have, experts to help us ensure that we have competitive pricing going forward. I think the key is that we have, from a track and OCS perspective, we have hard bid pricing from the proposers that if it was high, they would potentially not be the successful proposer. So it is, in essence, a competitive pricing. We have that as a baseline, and any changes from that there'd have to be reasons for increased costs above and beyond what we have for package 2 already.
Okay. And I'm sure it's a great company, and everybody wants to come into a project making sure that they get the job done, and I'm sure they will. But just an example, if we get to the third package and their price is far, far exceeding what we believe it should be, describe the off-ramp. Could we say, okay, now you're non-responsive, we'll go to somebody else, or how do you resolve that? What is in the contract that resolves that for us?
Well, first I'd call CEO Ann Chowdhury. But secondly, the off-ramp in essence is, walk away and, go plan B for those packages.
Okay.
Let me,
Executive Director Chowdhury.
sure. Let me comment on what Ed is saying. I mean, typically these contracts in the industry and in California are normally logged in right up front. If we take the example of LA Metro or LA Airport, recent projects, these are kind of, once you negotiate, you're in the full deal, and then you're in until they finish. Here, what we have done is created these NTPs just to make sure that two things happen. One, when they're going out and looking for OEMs to competitively bid the price, we want that open book. We do want to see it. We want them to actually walk us through how they selected the OEMs. And if they also will bring in, for instance, if we say signaling or traction power companies, we do want to know who they are during the selection. If those prices come in, like you're asking, Director Worth, we will see all of those prices. With some of these OEMs actually are going to do supply of the material and testing and commissioning because they are the expert on the products. These NTPs guarantee that we have the visibility, which is not very traditionally you see in Southern California, we just go design, build, lump sum. Second, if after the competitive OEMs selection they do, and yet their own markups and prices on top is not reasonable and not fair, that is where we trigger the off-ramp. And off-ramp means that at that point, we go to someone else. We already know the prices of the OEMs. We know all the testing, commissioning prices of the OEM. If the general contractor, in this case, is being unreasonable, that's where we off-ramp that.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Question on that. How integrated are these packages? Meaning if you've awarded me 1 and 2, I'm trying to be cute with you on package 3. I assume it's got to be a giant delta for us to want to actually replace a contractor at that stage.
Right. I mean, off-ramp is done based on what we did during
Last
the
resort, right?
Well, yeah, is always a lot, you know that. And so what we did in the bid, we added a price tab with unit prices of every item. So what we did, but the purpose was, I asked the team to do it, is making sure the quantities and the unit prices are in there. So when they go for the next phase, it is not that now they can create a new unit price. The unit is already there. And that was the way for us to keep the transparency between the phase we are committing today and the phase we will commit in the future.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Ed. I had a few more.
Sure.
The,
Director Pereira.
Yeah, and
continue.
just a couple more things, just to finish, on one of your slides and referring to page 3.
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
Could you speak closer to the microphone, please?
Yeah, here,
Thank you.
listening to page 3 or reviewing page 3 of our board packet. So June 14th of 27 is when we're anticipating the track being completed for the 119 miles?
No, sir. No, that's just for CP4. That's the first 22 miles. Yeah,
Oh, just
because
for the first 22 miles?
that's correct. Yeah, so basically that's the civil infrastructure that we have in place ready for track right now.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sure thing. That is for the first 22 miles for CP4 because that's the civil infrastructure in place right now. After that, we get into CP23, which we've talked about in extent to have that work done by the end of 2026. And then we have to do design as well on top of that. And then once we get that design complete, then they can roll into CP23 as well. So the intent is by June of next year, probably in the next 3 or 4 months, we'll start looking at that future NTP and what the realistic date is to commence that work. And the idea is to keep that track lane concurrent from CP4 into CP3, then 2, then 1.
Okay, so assuming we begin no later than November of this year in laying the track, ballpark, when will the 119 be completed?
So from a track perspective so track itself, to be frank with you, is not the critical path to getting the infrastructure in place. It's more the systems. From the track perspective, we'd be looking at late 2027 for the completion of track. And to be frank, we're probably going to pace the track because there's no sense in getting everything out in front of us and maintaining it. We're going to go at the most, not economical, but the best pace, cost-effective pace of laying track is our plan.
Okay, all right. My last question is, we talked a little bit about it the other day, was on the workforce and contracting subcontractors. And maybe it's a question, are the folks here today that we're going to be selecting?
That we're going to be selecting?
Yeah.
I do believe so.
Yeah, if I could ask them a quick question, if they're. No, understand. No, understand. I have a different question. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it may be premature because we haven't approved it yet, but if you could just, as much as you can, cover, I had mentioned to you in our briefing, I understand that they are going to sign and agree to meet that requirement that we have for acquiring small businesses. My sub question was, we have that Central Valley Training Center in the Valley where we train classes every 8 to 9 weeks, like a pre-apprenticeship type programs. And I know that we work with our building trades in bringing folks on board. So my question, though, as we talked about, centered around what level of commitment can we get from these folks to hire or at least interview these pre-apprentices for other jobs that they may have in their program?
Yeah, I think we'll get further into those details, but just want to offer that, clearly this is a union project. They'll be engaging the local craft trade unions within the Central Valley. I think part of that may be a question also is how do the unions integrate
Yeah,
with
I
that?
could work with Ian with that afterwards. But the main point is this training program is a pre-apprenticeship. It's a relationship we have with our local building trades. But of course, these folks are not in the union yet, but they're on that path. So I know there'll be a lot of subcontractors working. So it's what kind of relationship can we build, not just with the prime here, but their subs to
Yeah.
at least commit to interviewing these folks for jobs. So that's
Yeah.
another. I'll
No.
talk to Ian more about that.
Great. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
fair. I would assume that they'll be very interested based upon the need for craft in the Central Valley, and that's a very good idea and outlet for our contractors to develop, long-term skilled tradesmen and women.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Director Camacho, I think you had a question? Director Camacho?
Yeah. Just one real quick question. In the board report, it says the protest that we responded to the protest on May 13th of 26, and the protest is pending resolution. What is it? What is the issue of resolution?
So, Director, may I ask the General Counsel to speak to that since it's a legal issue? That's okay with you?
Yeah, the legal issue.
General Counsel?
Yes, Director Camacho. So the protest official is an independent person within the contracting office who reviews the merits of the protests and makes a determination as to whether the protest should be upheld or dismissed. That independent official, the protest official, dismissed the protest on Friday. So these slides were prepared prior to that dismissal occurring. When the slides were prepared, it was still under discussion or being reviewed at that time.
The reason I ask is if in fact it's still pending, we can't be issuing a contract if that's still out there.
The protest was denied on Friday, so we can move forward to award and notice to proceed if the board approves.
And Vice Chair Williams, do we have a follow-up question?
A couple of questions on that. So picking up on actually what Director Worth was asking about the second, we did receive another bid. Obviously, we wouldn't be talking about a protest if we didn't. And that they were disqualified. Can you talk about on what basis they were disqualified? And then I have a question about what they were challenging in the protest.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
So under procurement integrity rules, now that the protest has been dismissed, we can speak to the merits of the protest. And Ed, please feel free to jump in here. But based on what the authority reviewed, the protester was found non-responsive for failing to meet the requirement that at least one key personnel in charge of the work was a California registered professional engineer. That was a material qualification by the authority's own specifications that were included to all offerers in the ITP and the RFP. The design oversight manager had to be a California registered professional engineer. So you had to have at least one that was a California registered professional engineer, if not more. And the design oversight manager position was one that required that licensure. Failing to meet that, the agency, we determined them to be non-responsive. And that was the basis of their protest.
Got it. And just in terms of their original bid, do we have any sense or understanding about how their bid compared to the bid that is before us now and from a cost standpoint? Because I think that was sort of what Director Worth was getting at. Do we have any sense of what the market is on this? So did we have any information from that bidder as to what they would propose?
So under the instructions that were provided to all offerers, this was a pass-fail, like a go, no-go gating situation. So failing to meet these requirements means we did not open the price bid. So you didn't move basically to the next phase of evaluation if you failed to meet this requirement. It's sort of like a checklist that we go through. You get a no, you don't move forward because you're non-responsive at that point.
And this is more of a comment, but that would make logical sense to me that if you don't meet the qualifications, it's somewhat irrelevant what your bid might be because you don't meet the requirements, right? So it would be probably inappropriate and not very instructive for us to make a comparison between a qualified bidder's proposal and a by definition, unqualified bidder's proposal.
Yes, that's reviewed independently. The minimum requirements are reviewed independently from the technical or price proposals for procurement integrity.
Got it.
Keeping with this discussion, any other directors on this discussion?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Director Shank.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Director Williams. The specific reason that they were disqualified seems to me something that could be curable. I mean, if they did have California licensed people, is there a process going forward, or is it now closed?
So after the proposal close date, you can no longer substitute personnel at that point. You had to have that in place by the deadline that proposals were due to avoid providing any sort of unfair competitive advantage down the road. So there was an extensive period in between when initial proposals were due and the time period at which you had to provide sort of the final proposal. There was a question and answer session where this was laid out as to that this was a requirement. There was a request whether we would waive it. We responded we would not waive this requirement. So we very clearly laid out in about 4 places in the instruction to offers, this was a material requirement, and during the question and answers that it would not be waived.
Can we call? for the
Thank you,
question?
General Counsel. Yes,
We call for the question.
any further questions? Oh, right,
Motion to
okay,
approve.
but I'm just asking, there's no further questions? I thought I saw the senator wanting to talk, no?
You can read faces pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is I guess part of the discussion as it's proceeded is the uncomfortableness of such a huge contract when we had only 2 bidders and one of the bidders didn't comply because of what I perceive as a technical issue. And in my mind, a minor technical issue that could be fixed as part of the process. I'm not saying to go back and redo it. I'm just saying that it's in a company this size, it's not that hard, or a partnership, to find someone from California that's licensed that can come in and serve in that capacity. And it would have given us the ability to allow them to fix that, assuming it was the only problem, would have given us the ability to see a different price and to understand whether we're even in the ballpark. So I want to make that very clear.
Thank you, Senator.
The other question that was brought up by Commissioner Perea had to do with the pre-apprenticeship programs. And I think those are really important. In addition to that, and to the extent that we have the company here, I'd like to hear from them rather than from staff about their commitment to hiring people from the Valley. And the contractual obligations for small business, DVBE, and those are all great. But if we've got contractors that have wage orders, they're not called, it's the final resolution from the labor commissioner, and it's not called a judgment, but it's a wage order judgment that they have not complied with for wages and meal rest periods, those kinds of things. We need to make sure that those are not the people that are getting hired to do this project. We need to make sure that workers are getting paid what they're contracted for and for the work that they're doing. So
Thanks, Senator.
just want to be sure.
Yeah, I think they hear your question. I'm sure they will be responsive to you. Are there any further questions?
You know, I did have one. I apologize.
Yes,
Just,
Director
it just
Gray.
kept popping in my head as the sequence of timing, the power or electrification that will be obviously attached to our system. What is the timing of the installation of those facilities?
The installation of our traction power substation, is that what you're
Yes.
essentially?
The grid, yeah.
I think the question is about the PG&E grid main power supply. When are we connecting? So.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the specific date, I don't have the program schedule in front of us right now. We're concurrently working the approval process with PG&E to get our connections to the grid. That'll be concurrent with our procurement of traction power substations, what we talked about, getting the design up to a certain level to go out to OEM for the substation. I can share, I can get more details with you. I would say just off the top of my head, that's like a late 2028
Okay.
type
Yeah, if you could
date.
just share that with the board information later.
Yes, we can. And the TLOs that we have, and the next time we can more get into that a little bit more detail. That was the kind of the graph with the lines on it and the colors that kind of outlines when all the pieces come together. We can get them to further review with that.
Thank you. To make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We will now take up the item. No further questions. So I have a motion to approve by
Second.
Director Pereira, seconded by Vice Chair Williams.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Kava,
Yes.
Director Camacho,
Yes.
Director Elliott, Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams,
Aye.
Director Worth.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now move to the next item, item 4.
1 minute, Chair Kava, while we bring back Director Cohen. Thank you.
Welcome back, Director Cohen.
Feel well.
Thank you, and you are. Item number 4, consider adopting the 2026 business plan. At this time, I ask staff to present to the board.
Great. Well, thank you, Chair Kava and members of the board. I'm Mark Tellison. I'm the Chief of Staff here at the Authority. We'll be presenting to you the final business plan for your approval. Could we go to the next slide, please? So just a little bit of the history of where we are. So as you are very much aware, we produce a business plan every even year and a project update report every odd year. A little bit of the history that you see on the screen. So we did produce a draft business plan for our public comment period, February 28th. And I do want to take a moment just to thank all of our staff for all of the work that goes into producing one of these plans. It's really a process that starts well before that February 28th date. As hopefully we get the approval here, we will then begin starting on our project update report for next year. So a lot of work that goes into that. But extensive conversations around the draft business plan. We had a number of hearings as well as a board meeting to discuss. At the April 29th board meeting, the board extended our period to present the final document to you all by 30 days, really to accommodate the additional public comment that came in very much towards that end of the 60-day comment period. So we have taken that into consideration and are looking to present to you today that final business plan. Next slide. So we kept with the 3 really key tenets of that draft plan. 1, laying out that vision to complete Merced to Bakersfield within the timeline of the 2030 to 2033 window that the governor had mentioned back in 2019. We lay out viable paths to expand into our population centers with the first opportunity for true revenue generation being that Bakersfield to San Francisco segment. And we also identify a number of opportunities really working towards global best practices around high-speed rail projects, looking at early asset commercialization that can help support the high-speed rail project, really looking at this as more than just a passenger rail project, but truly a corridor of opportunity. We do touch on a number of policies that are needed to allow us to stay on schedule and stay on budget. CEO Chowdhury will be speaking to some of those in his CEO report, but the business plan also outlines some of those proposals. And then we do explore a path to the full phase 1 project, getting from San Francisco to LA and Anaheim. Next slide, please. So we talked a little bit about an economic corridor of opportunity, and we had these slides in the previous presentation back in March, but it really does show that, when fully built, this is a truly, a true driver for the 4th largest economy in the world, with, the GDP being shown there compared to a lot of the other major high-speed rail systems globally. So really, looking at this as a catalyst for economic growth, adhering to our plans for full environmental sustainability, probably one of the most sustainable infrastructure projects in the United States currently. And then making sure that we're adhering to some of the principles of social equity as well, and really connecting California and providing that opportunity to not only the Valley, but as we extend into the Bay Area and Southern California. Next slide. So touched on these a little bit, won't dive into them too much, but really talking about that first opportunity to really complete Merced to Bakersfield, the trunk line, not only for our high-speed rail system, but the state rail plan more broadly. Expanding into the population centers, one of the key principles that we're trying to achieve, ultimately to build out that phase one system. And then talking about some of those early asset commercialization opportunities. So we have a long linear corridor where power generation, broadband, traditional station area development, all of those opportunities for the project and to benefit those communities that we go through. Next slide. So making the vision a reality. So for Merced to Bakersfield, since the project update report last year, we have identified approximately $14 billion of savings through the optimizations that we have come to the board with at CEO Chowdhury. Really challenged our team to help drive making sure that we can build in the right sequence, building the infrastructure that we need today to meet the ridership demand for today, while still allowing us that building block approach to get to the future. Ultimately, that resulted in savings even from our draft business plan. Merced to Bakersfield will now cost approximately $35.7 billion. That is based on 8 trips per day in both directions. As we just heard in the previous item, bringing on our track and systems construction contractor, huge milestone for the authority, allowing us to lay track by the end of 2026. We believe that with this plan that we've laid out, we will be able to provide basically fair service by 2033 from Merced to Bakersfield. And then safety is one of the considerations that we don't talk about as much with this project, but just given the number of structures that we're building, not only in the Valley and planned for the entire system, this is probably one of the biggest safety projects in the state and in the nation. Next slide. So this talks about the expansion into the population centers. So as mentioned, our first opportunity for revenue generating service or revenue positive service would be from Bakersfield into San Francisco using a blended approach as we get to Gilroy, connecting in with the Caltrain corridor. A lot of conversations with the partner agencies along the peninsula. A lot of the public comment came from those entities, which we have addressed and continue to work with our partners on what that blended service will look like. Ultimately, as we look forward, a $47 billion net operating revenue over 40 years. So really excited about the opportunities to expand the service beyond the Valley into the future. And based on our current estimations, we believe that we could complete that segment by 2039 if fully funded. Next slide. Similarly, laying out a path to get to Southern California, Palmdale really being that terminus down in Southern California to connect in with some of our partner services. So really the idea that we've talked about is creating this, southwestern high-speed rail network, where in Palmdale we'd connect with the High Desert Corridor to get to Victor Valley, which would ultimately connect in with the Brightline West project going from Rancho Cucamonga to Las Vegas. We do include a shared approach, again, a shared corridor as we connect in with Metrolink, utilizing some of their alignment while also building out some of the high-speed rail infrastructure that would be necessary in the near term, ultimately, to build out a full system into the future. But really excited about the opportunities there. Again, if fully funded, could complete that segment by 2039. Next slide. So we'll get into some of the changes that went from draft to final at this point. In your reports, we had a number of tables that have been changed, basically walking through all of those changes in detail. What I will say here, and we heard from a number of our public agency partners around some of the comments between draft and final, And I think from the authority standpoint, we remain committed to working with not only, our partners in Merced, but we heard from Kern County, City of Bakersfield. I want to continue to work with them on what we build out into the future. But really excited about some of the opportunities there. I do want to mention, with respect to the downtown Bakersfield station, we are still fully committed to building that station out. What we have proposed in the business plan is a potential interim station where, again, we want to work with the community to see if that is desired and what that ultimately could look like. But a lot of conversations still to be had with them. Next slide.
Mark, if I could ask you a question on that. It's very important, I think, not only for me, but for the rest of this board, that we are responsive and that we communicate to our local, county, district partners wherever we were going to be building this rail. And so I just want you to amplify. I heard comments in the public comment about people having concerns, but I also heard that they said that you were responsive. I just want to know a little bit more about that. And so as far as going forward as well, the commitment to be responsive and for that communication not to end, but to continue.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a commitment. The cities and counties have our commitment to do so. What I will say is that, our plan does speak a little more openly around some of the conversations that we've had, with the city and county and COG in Merced, for example, really stemming from some of the conversations and some of the concerns that came up after our release of the supplemental project update report. So really, conversations have continued since the fall with the community. Really good conversations. A lot of conversations to still be had around what that footprint and what a southern station could look like for our partners down in Kern County. As you heard, we have been engaging. I think there's a lot of conversations to still be had, so we'll continue to do so.
Right. And it's my understanding, I know I'm new to the board, but the legislature requires us to adopt a business plan every 2 years, every even year. Was that correct?
That is correct. And what I will say is that really the business plan is a point in time. And to the point I made earlier, we will, really after hopefully adoption of this plan, start beginning to work on our supplemental project update report, our project update report that will be released early next year.
Good. Are there any questions? Were you done there?
I've got a couple more slides.
Okay.
I will go very quickly
You on the-
through those, so apologies.
Okay.
So this just talks a little bit about some of the proposed changes. I won't go into a lot of detail here. Let's go to the next slide. One of the things that we did hear a lot of feedback, and this went not only from a letter from the Office of the Inspector General, but some of the comments that we heard in legislative committees, really making sure that we were responsive to some of the items that the Office of the Inspector General identified as what they deemed deficient in the draft plan. We have worked very closely to add a lot of that detail. Much of that goes around really, identifying some of the SB 198 infrastructure and costs from Merced to Bakersfield, as opposed to the plan that we have presented since our draft business plan. So we do believe that we are fully responsive to all of those comments. So just want to make sure that the board is aware of that component as well. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sorry for that interruption. Any questions for staff? Yes, Director Scudia.
Thank you so much. First of all, congratulations on the business plan, especially Chapter 1, over your discussions on power corridors, broadband corridors, etc., as well as the discussion of the potential for ancillary revenue. And looking upon the examples in Europe as well as in Japan, I actually have been to the one in Milano. The Milano station, as that to me is just a monster of a thing. If we could even do that here in California, it would just be amazing. But the thing that really caught my attention was Chapter 2 of your business plan, in which you updated your ridership and therefore your fare box revenue numbers. So basically, in conclusion, the Merced Bakersfield segment has the lowest ridership and the lowest fare box, and probably also the lowest ancillary revenue, followed by San Francisco Bakersfield segment. The ridership is at about 1 million to 14 million, and then followed by the San Francisco LA Anaheim segment, which the ridership is up to 23 million, and the fare box alone is $3 billion, 3 to 3.8 billion. So I would like to, I'm stating that for the record, because I would love to find out the reason as to why we are traveling up north to Gilroy and not south to LA, when the numbers really don't justify it.
Yeah, thank you, Director. Really appreciate the comments there. And what we do try to present in the business plan is the reality of, the potential ridership and revenue associated with each of those segments as we build out. As far as the next steps, we are currently funded to complete Merced to Bakersfield. We have identified viable paths with respect to the funding needed to get beyond the valley. What direction we go is really dependent upon the funding that we have. One of the things, and again, our CEO will talk about this in his CEO report, but we did put out a solicitation for a private partner to come on board through a co-development agreement. This is really an opportunity where they can come back to us, present a business case on the rail side as well as some of the ancillary revenues, and bring those ideas to us to see what is in the realm of possibility as we continue to work with the administration and the legislature to identify additional funding for the project. So more to come as far as what direction we go, but we do try to lay out the paths of what is possible in the business plan.
If I may follow up, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman?
yes.
Thank you. And please excuse my ignorance in terms of the purpose of a business plan, but I'm always looking for the sources of financing, and obviously you identify that, but I'm always looking for the identification of potential liabilities that are out there. And I'm going to go back again to the issue of change orders. I only saw the issue of change orders mentioned once in this business plan in Appendix C on page 65, in which you identify that you have negotiated probably with CP23, the outstanding change order. The only question that I have is, at which point does the board get that information about change orders? And the reason why it caught my attention is because you also have a somewhere mentioned, again, in Appendix C, which is kind of hard to be looking at all this stuff and looking through the appendixes. You don't make it easy, but I found it. I found one line that said that internally you have developed a third-party strike force. That's your language. Third-party strike force internally, where you meet and you discuss, issues in terms of risk involving third parties, basically change orders. I think it's a great idea that you do that internally. My only question is, at which point do we, the board, get that information coming from your internal committee up to us? Because I think that would make us a more informed board, and it would make us more than likely, if we get the explanation as to change orders, we have to vote on this eventually. If I were to get that information, as well as identifying by change order, what exactly is it that we are paying for? I think it's good to educate your board. Your response to that?
Yeah, Director Escudia, right on. Jamie Metallica, Chief Financial Officer for the authority. So we put in a risk provision in all of our reports. So if the adoption of our new program baseline happens later this month, and what happened last year, we have a risk provision to cover for change orders or outside liabilities that might come up of the program. We budget at the 65% level. Change orders come and go. Some are merited, some are not merited. We have a construction team that goes through that on the ground. When they reach a level to where that it becomes a cost, then we cost that, we go through the process. If it reaches a threshold that cannot be approved within delegation, we bring that to the board for approval. Every month, we report on every usage of contingency through our Finance and Audit Committee. I understand right now that'll be something in the works, but we still issue the reports regardless. So earlier last week, I sent out the report about everything that's occurring in the construction world, and we will continue to do that. As far as the third-party strike force team, it's a fantastic team we put in place a couple of years back to handle a lot of third-party issues and try to resolve them sooner so we don't have further delays on the project.
One last question. And I apologize for being so obsessed on change orders, but I had some really bad experiences when I was the chairwoman of the Alameda Corridor Select Committee in the state legislature. I don't know why Speaker Willie Brown appointed me to that one, but negotiating with UP, the Union Pacific Railroad, on change orders and everything else, it was just brutal. And I spent 10 years of my life doing that. I don't want to spend 10 years here at High Speed Rail. I'm hoping to be off the board, by then. And I'll be frank, I'm not even too sure whether I'll be alive whenever we start doing this. Just a quick thing. Can we get at least a one-pager of potential liability out there in terms of change orders? And I know it's a range, and I know it's subject to negotiation, but I would love to know, what is it that, yes, I know what are the assets, but to me, the liability question is really critical, and I would just like to find that out. Is that possible, or is that information, protected by attorney-client privilege? Can we get
confidentially,
that?
I'm happy to show you everything that we have.
All right, I'll follow up with you. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Vice Chair Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Tollefson. I think so. Even just sort of picking up on the questions about revenue and fare projections and things we've spent a huge amount of time at this authority and on this board talking about revenue projections. I think for maybe a decade that dominated the conversations with the legislature. What were the revenue projections? And I think what this business plan does that all those previous conversations missed was the ancillary revenue that can be generated through a fully functioning and operating system. Do you happen to know, using Japan as an example, which I think operated their first train in 1965 or thereabout, about how much today of that system's revenue comes from fares versus ancillary revenue?
Yes, Director William. We looked at the Italian system, the Spanish, and the Japanese, and the range of what they recover from the fare box has been somewhere between 35% to 42%, and they are profitable high-speed rail systems. They do take the revenue and profits from the system to build more. How are they doing it? Is the answer that we have in our business plan is through the ancillary revenues. And to Director Scutia, when she was mentioning about Italy, that's what it is. It is everything they do is outside of the fare box. Fare box not even makes it to 50%.
Yeah, that was my sense. And I again, in terms of big picture here, I mean, we're focused on where we are in the process, and we're spending a lot of time, as we should be, talking about construction costs. But eventually we will, I believe, I like to say there are doers and doubters. We're the doers. We think we know this is going to happen. And when we do look back and we understand that we have built out a system that is accommodating, not just meeting the transportation and ridership needs of the state and bringing the state together and expanding economic opportunity, but also being smart and acting smart about how we monetize the system. And I think really for the first time, I've been on this board for 5 years now, for the first time we have a business plan that fully recognizes that and fully lays the groundwork for that future world in which, frankly, fare revenues are at least less than half of the revenue that system will generate, and all of the other economic benefits in terms of co-development, hotels and shopping centers around rail stations, and even being able to move technology across the state through fiber optic cable. I know there's controversy about data centers, but I think there are systems that actually run many data centers along their rail corridors as a way to spread out the impact of those data centers across the landscape as opposed to having them being concentrated and having disproportionate economic negative impacts, let's just say, on some of the communities. So this is a real opportunity for us. I'm super pleased with this, and Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, I would like to make the motion to approve.
Sure. I believe we have a question from Director Schenk.
Okay.
Director Elliott.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my first meeting, so I'm not 5 years in, Mr. Williams, or longer, Ms. Shank. But I know. I want to appreciate the warm welcome I've gotten from all of the board members as we've transitioned into these new roles on the board. I have a question for Ms. Tollefson, you, maybe Jamie. I don't know. You guys can tell me who you want to answer. This relates to the question that we heard during public comment, and also I've heard a bunch as I've been doing my onboarding as a board member from local governments around tax increment financing, enhanced infrastructure financing districts. If I could just lay out the way that I understand the finances on the expenditure side, and then Mark, if you wouldn't mind correcting me where I'm wrong. Page 29 of the business plan shows that we have total available capital funding through 2045 of $39.28 billion. Page 37 of the business plan shows us that we have net costs, net out the Merced Bakersfield 35.7. We have net costs, and please correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. San Francisco Bakersfield, which means Transbay to downtown Bakersfield, is a net cost of 25.57. Is that correct?
Morning, Director Elliott.
Morning.
The net cost for San Francisco to Bakersfield, 25.57, is 4th and King Street.
That's 4th and King?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not the full 1A. San Francisco Palmdale, is that also 4th and King to Palmdale?
Yes.
And then 90.41, is that also 4th and King to Union Station?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I have concerns about that, but that's actually not my question. So my question here is $90.41 billion is our total need, above and beyond the funds that we have available to us or expected to be available to us through specifically cap and trade, right? Or cap and invest. Okay. So my question, thank you for clarifying those assumptions. My question is about tax increment financing. If we go back to page 29, for everybody to read, we have $39.28 billion against a project that's 126.08. Not actually, we're going to need to add a little of that. Tax increment financing, data centers, solar, monetization, all these things. But this chart, table 3.0, does not include any sort of tax increment financing funding for the capital part of the project. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So I think that what I'm driving at here is a breakdown in communication, or perhaps without communication, fear grows. And I think what I've experienced in the couple of weeks that I've been onboarding to this project is that there is an expectation or an assumption of the worst, which is that somehow we're already, as an authority, assuming that we're going to be doing tax increment financing and doing that without collaboration from the local governments. That is clearly not what's in the hard black and white and blue and yellow numbers of the business plan. But I think there is a real fear and expectation of the worst among our local partners about this. So I'm glad to have the clarity that we're not anticipating or taking for granted tax increment finance revenue, nor are we taking for granted any revenue from other monetization strategies that my friend, Director Williams, just very rightly pointed out have to be a part of this program. And I guess as I come onto this project, and I can claim ignorance perhaps just this one meeting since it's my first, I hope that I can ask the staff, and I can commit myself personally to making sure that we try to work more collaboratively with local governments on what our expectations are versus what our ideas are, because I think that there's some nuance getting lost between those two things. That's my observation in my couple of weeks being the newbie here on this board. But thank you for clarifying my understanding of that.
Yeah, thanks, Director Elliott. And one thing that I will say on that is that as we move forward, with any type of tax increment, financing, our business plan actually intends to be or attempts to be responsive to a lot of the comments that came in to talk about utilizing some of the existing tools that we have available to us, like enhancing infrastructure financing districts, where that would be a partnership with local governments and really working collaboratively on what is possible. If those existing tools don't make sense, that is the opportunity where we could explore different, vehicles, but that would be in collaboration with the local communities. And currently, we don't have a proposal out on the street, which does, I think, lead to some of those fears of the worst.
Yeah, and thanks. Just one more thing, Mr. Chair. I think everybody in this room and listening online, or maybe almost everybody in this room and listening online, wants to see this project complete. If that's going to be the case, we're, by my own math, $86.8 billion short of where we need to go. And that's going to require partnership by every definition of that word: public, private, public, state to locals, locals to locals. So we're 86.8 from where we need to be. And I think if we all commit to partnership, we will solve that gap. If we are fighting with each other, we will not, it seems to me. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Director Elliott. Director Schenk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't going to speak, but decided after listening to my colleagues here, not only am I the longest serving, but I guess I'm the historian too here. And commenting on Director Williams' observation, when I first brought this project idea to Governor Brown in 1981, I had seen what the tremendous progress that was being made in Japan in the development around the stations. And the whole root of the idea was obviously to move people quickly from the population centers of San Diego to LA, because Amtrak was even then the second busiest corridor and has only grown exponentially, but also the economic development that was around the stations. So I too am pleased to see an acknowledgement of it, because it's been a frustration that we've not brought that in the past as in relief like it is here. But as Director Scudia said, she is a product of her experience as chairing committees. I'm a product of being the Secretary of Business and Transportation. And I guess my frustration is still why we're spending additional funds to go through Gilroy rather than to the south, where we have the population, where we can have the economic development, where we can have the success that we're looking for. And I know I sound like a broken record about it, and I would be remiss if I didn't keep breaking that record. But I really hope that with a renewed and refreshed board and reinvigorated staff, that we can look to ways to speed up this train going south rather than just north. And I know the politics that was involved in it. I was, part of it, part of the frustration. But now is the time to look at how we can do this. And speaking to the public-private partnerships, that was always from day one the idea. And we really need to make sure that we focus on that quite vigorously at the staff level as well. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Director Schenk. Director Worth?
Thank you. Thanks for the way you laid out those edits. It made it very easy to follow all the changes you wanted to make. As it relates to the Inspector General's letter, could we just follow up later for the file? There's 27 requirements that they had claimed we didn't meet, how we met them, or if we didn't think we were required to meet those. If you could just put something together that's more thorough than just saying that we met them, that we responded to them, that'd be great for me. And the final thing was easy. I was looking on my desk for copies. I have an old copy of the plan with no date on it. So whatever final version we have, let's just make sure there's a date on it so we don't have confusion as to which one's the right one.
It does say 2026 though, right?
The actual,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, we can make those
Director
changes,
Correa.
and we will absolutely follow up with you regarding the Office of the Inspector General.
Yeah, Mark, thank you for your presentation. Just have a few questions. I wanted to first start off with Director Elliott. I just want to underscore one of the comments or questions that he asked with respect to the tax increment. And I know we probably could have done a little bit better job communicating with a lot of the folks in the Valley, but I just want to underscore, maybe from Ian or our senator on that particular subject. I know from Fresno, just being in the heart of all the construction, the mayor's call, even as recent as last week, was, hey, we're going to fight you tooth and nail if you think you're taking our tax increment. And I said, no, this is just an idea at this point. And the response was, well, all of our contacts in Sacramento, from the governor's office through the legislature, is that there's a lot of activity going on there to make this happen. And again, I assured him that it wasn't, but I want to make it very clear on this dais that, I mean, obviously we want to put out good ideas when it comes to creative ways to finance our project, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. So Ian, if I could just ask if you could touch on that, please.
That's correct. I mean, the business plan really represents different approaches to address one big thing. To Director Williams' point, the project, if you recall, it is supposed to be built and operated without any subsidies. That is what is built into the DNA of this. So how do you do that? You provide these concepts, and then the authority really doesn't have any jurisdictional powers over doing any tax increments or EIFDs. We have to work with the local agencies. So right now, these are our concepts. They're not built into our costing. So none of the costs associated that we are projecting includes any of the tax increments or any of the EIFDs at this point.
And to your knowledge, the governor's office or the legislature are not actively pursuing this right now as an option?
Not to my knowledge.
Senator, do you have any?
Senator Caballero.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that question. I think there is a bill. Senator Cortese is carrying the bill. I'm sorry, I don't remember bill numbers anymore. That talks about financing, and it's generated a lot of paranoia about what does it mean. And we've had conversations, him and I, and he's carrying it as part of the plan. To have the plan include as much information about high-speed rail as possible. It's a update to the plan. So I think that's what's created the confusion, and just the discussion of taking local tax revenue during a year when we started off in January looking like we were going to have to make some fairly significant cuts to the budget, had everybody a little paranoid. So I'd like to be part of the discussion with local government, if you will. We can, do a tag team where we talk about some of the opportunities and how it would, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Cities have a number of different ways that they pay for the infrastructure when they have new construction. And so there may be a way for us to be able to do something that really is a partnership. Yeah. And part of the challenge, I'll speak real quickly, is that for my district, the city of Merced and the county of Merced have very different ideas about where the station should go and what it should look like and what should happen. And that creates conflict for me because we got to work together, number one. Number two is that there is great distress in the community because they haven't been included in any of the discussions. And so I do think that we're going to have to go out and have conversations. You heard Faith in the Valley and some of the other organizations. They just want to know what's going to happen, and moving it outside of the city limits on the opposite side of the tracks and the freeway, that becomes a real issue. Most exciting thing about these high-speed rails in other countries is you get off the train and right there's coffee shops and there's restaurants and there's hotels. You can schlep your luggage right in. And what we're going to be doing in Merced is putting them out in right now with Spiels and with a freeway and the tracks, the commercial tracks in front of you. So there's some work we got to do, I think.
Great. Thank you, Senator.
Okay, thank you. And I think we'll definitely take you up on that offer, because we need to open that communication wide open with these folks on this bill that is in the legislature, so folks understand what's in it and what isn't in it. But more importantly is that they're part of whatever it is that we're doing moving forward. So I'm sure, Ian, you'll be working on that. The issue of, and it was touched on briefly too, Ian, if you could talk a little bit about the data centers, what they would look like.
Sure. Again, in our concepts, we are also talking about generating ancillary revenues, and this is one of the items we are saying. We are not in the business of building data centers. High-speed rail authority is not. So that's not what we are doing. However, we do have a corridor that have fiber connectivity, power, renewable, clean power available. If there were to be the case, which we heard that some of these hyperscalers are actually having active discussions in Central Valley about their intent to provide data centers. If that were to happen, the corridor, can provide the fiber connectivity to those locations. And so our plan or proposal is to say, these are the ways to generate ancillary revenues. Not that we want to go and build data centers. That's not the intent. The intent is to say we have the corridor with the provisions of future power, renewable power, clean energy, and also fiber connectivity. That's what we are talking about.
Okay. And I'm sure that's something probably in our communication efforts we'll want to be talking to folks about that, because there's a lot of good information, but a lot of misinformation about data centers out there too. So it's our responsibility to communicate. Mark, we had some callers today from Bakersfield asking if we would remove the section related to Bakersfield out of this plan. I mean, is that feasible, or how do we address their concerns?
Yeah, I think, appreciate that, Director. And, you have our commitment. We've identified that, we want to continue to work with City of Bakersfield, Kern County, Kern COG. Really what we are presenting is a pathway where we're still committed to building that downtown Bakersfield station. That would come, with additional funding as we're able to get to Palmdale. So what we are presenting in this plan is an opportunity to, build an interim station if that is something that the community desires. So we want to continue to work with them on that.
Okay, so leave the plan as is. Yes. Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, the last thing I just want to do is, I know we're talking a lot about communication today, and I just want to take the privilege of introducing Allison Rodriguez. She's a new Central Valley Deputy Regional Director. She's out in the audience today, and I think a lot of the folks, especially in the Valley, will get to know her a lot better, because she'll be doing a lot of the communication for us as we're moving forward. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, she gave Director Elliott and I a tour last week in Fresno, and it was great. Nice seeing you again, Ally.
Thank you, Mark.
I actually love this theme about communication. I've talked to a lot of you, and I've said in my 35 years in public service, a lot of issues and problems are a result of two things: miscommunication and a lack of communication. So I know the authority and Ian and the whole staff, as well as this board of directors, wants to make sure that we double down and triple down on communicating to our partners throughout the state of California. Any further questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Williams, seconded by
Perea.
Director Perea.
Director
Hello.
Fink,
Yes.
Chair Kava,
Yes.
Director Camacho, Director Elliott, Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Escutia,
Aye.
Vice Chair Williams,
Aye.
Director Worth,
Yes.
Director Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. We now move on to not an action item, but an information item. Item number 5. Item number 5 regarding the application of technical criteria for the heavy maintenance facility sites. May I have staff present?
Good morning, directors and Chair Kava. Table is a little tall for me. Okay. I am LaDonna DiCamillo. I am Regional Director for Northern and Southern California. I'm here in my role as Interim Director of Planning, helping out the planning and sustainability team. I'm here today to talk about the site selection report that we have completed and the recommendations that we're moving forward with on the location of a heavy maintenance facility. And just really quick on what is a heavy maintenance facility. This is a facility where we will be maintaining all of our train equipment and locomotives. It is a facility designed to for us to grow into also. So although we will be doing some of this work on a smaller level on our initial operations, this facility would be for our full phase one operations. So today I'm going to cover the sites that we've considered, some of the background of how these sites were progressed, the purpose for the report, the screening criteria that we used, and our recommendations and next steps. Next slide. So for this assessment, we looked at 11 different sites. Some of these sites were carried forward from environmental documents and some were nominated, but there were 11 sites. You can see on the map, we went from up in north of Merced and down to Shafter. And I'll walk through some of these sites and how they got nominated, but this is where they are located geographically. Next slide. As I mentioned, some of these sites have been carried forward historically in some of our environmental documents. For the sites north of Fresno, they were studied in part of our Merced to Fresno environmental document. And some of them actually were on alignments that were not chosen as part of that environmental document. So those sites end up getting eliminated, but we still nonetheless had carried them forward. And the purpose for putting them in these environmental documents is to make sure that the engineering design is consistent with where we think we're headed. So there were 4 potential sites carried forward in the Merced to Fresno final EIR, but none were adopted. So they were just studied from an engineering standpoint to make sure that the engineering and design would fit. And then similarly for the Fresno to Bakersfield environmental document, we actually considered 5 potential sites. So that's how these sites got moved forward. They were incorporated into the designs, but no decision was made as to what the final location of the facility would be. Next slide. There were some of the sites were eliminated because when the environmental document went forward, it considered different alignments, and some of the sites were on alignments that were not carried forward. So even though we have them in our report, they would require building track that is not a part of our early operations alignment. So those end up getting eliminated. And then we did have 2 sites that were recommended by Merced that we have added in. So I'm going to move on from that. Oh, and on the south side, I should notice that there were sites that the 2 sites in Shafter actually were part of an alignment that we no longer carried forward when we went to the LGA, the locally generated alternative. Okay, moving forward. So where are we in the process? We are very early in the process, and I wanted to emphasize that for the board and for the public, that this is just a screening of the sites for feasibility. And we are recommending moving forward with 2 of those sites. We still are working on final layout of what that facility would look like. And then we will go to a public scoping meeting. So that's when we will fully go out to the public, and I've got another slide on that later, but we will be looking for public comment on the sites and the layout, and then we come back to the board for selection of a preferred alternative, which will probably be when we release the draft, and then the board will consider the final alternative when the environmental work is complete. Next slide. So the criteria fall into 2 categories generally, the technical and operations criteria as well as the environmental criteria. Key criteria from the technical standpoint included the size of the facility. We wanted 150 acres or larger. It needed to be approximately 8,000 feet in length. It needed, as I've mentioned, to be close proximity to the early operating segment, so we don't have to build additional track off of the operating segment. And then we've required 2 points of access. And this does become a factor for some of the sites because we want, if something is impeding one of the site's points of access, We want to be able to utilize the other. It also, from a rail operating standpoint, provides more flexibility, fewer reverse moves. And then we did also consider the proximity to a freight railroad to deliver materials that we would need. Next slide are our environmental criteria. I am not going to go through the fine print, but we did look at the compatibility with existing development, constructability, community disruption, environmental resources, and natural environment. And the one that I will point out that did become a factor under natural environment was the proximity to a floodplain and what happens during flooding. So moving forward, next slide lays out these criteria. And some sites were eliminated just based on these core operating criteria. You can see they all met the acreage and the length, but not necessarily accommodating 2 points of access. And then some were off the operating segment. And I will point out on this slide, with respect to the Wasco site, we looked at a site in Wasco, and this, I'm addressing the public comment at this point, but the site that we looked at in Wasco was, if you consider the corridor, the freight tracks were on this side of the corridor and the passenger tracks on this side. And the site that we looked at was on the opposite side of the passenger tracks. So we would have to get over to the other side. It's just below that point that the two cross over. So the site that's recommended by the caller that recently proposed an alternative near Wasco is actually on a curve. And technically they are correct that the property that they proposed was on the passenger side, but it's right above that property that our passenger track switches over to the other side of the corridor. So in order to make that north access point, we needed to cross over the freight tracks, and we would have, and another part of these access points is we will be connecting to the passenger corridor at 80 miles an hour. So this is not, we can't have our connection on a curve. And so it would require a long lead track to get into the passenger tracks. And this is why it would be eliminated. So it has similar problems to the Wasco site that we looked at. And it would have been eliminated for those criteria. So, and as I said at the beginning, this is one of the reasons why we moved these forward in our environmental process, just to make sure that the design would work if we had moved those, carried them forward. Okay, so with this slide, you'll see that we had 4 sites that met our operations criteria, the 2 in Merced, Fresno, and Hanford. Moving to the next slide, we looked at just those for environmental considerations, and it is the environmental considerations that the Merced site were in a 100-year floodplain. And this, from a constructability and operations standpoint, would be very difficult. We're actually needing, in some of these facilities, to look underneath the equipment to do our inspections. So it would have prevented, it would not have been a good scenario to build in this floodplain. A lot of extra costs associated with that, which left us with Fresno and Hanford. So the team's recommendation is to move forward for environmental study purposes for Fresno and Hanford. Next slide. This is a summary of some of the key considerations that the public and you can review. But as I said, I've covered most of these, but this is a summary of why some were eliminated, and we're moving forward with Fresno and Hanford as reasonable alternatives for environmental study. Next slide. Should get us to our next steps. So we did put out the screening criteria. We released that in early March, and we finalized our report in May. There will be scoping. So now that we're moving forward with Fresno and Hanford, we will conduct environmental scoping, which will include virtual public meeting, and then we're planning an in-person meeting in Fresno and an in-person meeting for Hanford. They will be in the summer. We haven't selected dates yet, but we anticipate August. For more information, we'd like the public to email us at hmf@hsr.ca.gov or watch our social media, and we will announce those meetings that are coming up. Once the public and the environmental team have scoped the project, we'll be coming out with a draft environmental document the first quarter of next year, and we anticipate a final environmental document mid next year as well, and then we bring it to the board for final consideration. So with that, that is my last slide, and I hope I have answered your questions, but you may have more.
Yes, very good. Thank you. I do have a question since, once again, the theme of communication, and there were 11 sites and nine folks didn't make into the final with the final two. I see the screening criteria and how strict it was. I assume that we have communicated with all the other sites, the 9 sites, the rationale, so that they can understand as you explained to us today.
Our external affairs team has reached out to some of those communities. We're willing to sit down and share with them more information too as well. But our external affairs team has been working on that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Yes, Director Pereira.
Just again, understanding the process, and I'm glad to see Fresno and Hanford are in the top 2, but just looking at the information presented, why aren't we just moving forward at this point with one option? What requires us to do, quote, top 2?
I wouldn't say it's a requirement, but at this stage of what we know, we couldn't distinguish significantly, I think, between the 2 sites. There are some advantages to the Fresno site, but we haven't finished much of the environmental study. We've just done some preliminary work. And so from an environmental study, we are recommending we study both of the sites. And then if one is distinguished from another, we'll make sure that the board is aware, and that will help guide our selection of the preferred alternative.
Okay, because I noticed on 1, 2 that I believe in Hanford, to create that link is about 2 miles, that rail link.
I don't think it was that far. Oh, for the freight side of it. Yes, for the connection to the freight.
What would that cost?
I don't think we costed it out. Yeah, we didn't cost it out yet.
Okay. So maybe my question for Ian is at what point, and I understand there's studies that need to still be continued, but at what point could we make a tentative decision on selection as you move forward with your work?
Yeah, so there's a lot of work that goes into the environmental process, including cost estimates. And then I mentioned briefly, we haven't even finalized the layouts of what the site would look like. So it's a continually iterative process. And I would typically, before the draft environmental document is released, we will have enough information to come back to the board with a recommendation for a preferred alternative. So that would be early next year. But we want to go through that whole process so that we're studying all the factors, and then we can lay them out for you.
Ian?
Cost definitely is a factor, which will ultimately also influence how, if we have 3 miles of track to build, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So that will be considered. In the impact, LaDonna, to the point of like a schedule, are we saying January or February of next year, we will have the draft EIR?
The draft EIR.
That will be the time frame when we can come to the board with the final conclusion.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, obviously, I have a bias in this, but from just a standpoint of as a body and everything that we're doing, we're saving dollars or pulling back on finding smarter ways of spending our dollars. Why would we even be considering something that's going to require a 2 to 3 mile spur that's going to cost millions of dollars to do when you don't have to do it at the other side? What's your thinking? Why would staff want to spend your resources, your time, knowing that? Why would we do that?
because we
If
haven't.
I may, if I may,
studied.
Donna,
Sure.
certainly. So under CEQA and NEPA, we are required to study a reasonable range of alternatives. So we're at that part in the environmental process right now. And then after we go through that study period, then we can be at the point of the decision making that you're referring to, Director Perea. LaDonna, please feel free to jump in.
And the bottom line is we don't have all the facts yet. There are some considerations in the Fresno site with respect to historic view. So there are some things that we're going to have to mitigate for, which could balance out some costs, but we want to have more facts than what we have now. Right now, we just know that both sites are feasible, at least from an environmental and technical standpoint. So the costs will weigh in, but we'll also be looking at, I don't know, there's like 13 different categories that we have to study for environmental purposes, and we'll have more facts for you at a future date.
Okay, so you'll be back to the board Q1 27?
That's anticipated, maybe close to Q2. So early next year.
Q1, yeah. Okay.
I see no other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we now move on to item 6, CEO's report. CEO Chowdhury.
All right. Okay, so now since we are done with the big decisions earlier, I just want to say that today is really the turning point for high-speed rail, not just in the state of California, but in the US. California always leading the way. So one more time, we are entering into this new phase for this monumental, magnanimous project. Getting closer to the realization by starting laying tracks for the true high-speed rail that we are about to start. There will be a slide here that will show our new friends who have are just joining us for Track and Systems contract. So if we can pull that slide up. This is something from 1869. This is from a museum in Wyoming. If someone in my track builder friends here would like to memorize this was done back then, 10 miles of track, no pressure at all. That was done back then. So with all the technology and everything else that we know today, I'm hoping that this 22 miles will be done in like 4 days. I'm joking, but this is how we used to build before. I don't know what happened since then. We have some idea of what went around for 100+ years. Let's talk a little bit about where we were just 18-20 months ago. What we did, how to get to this place, reorganize the authority, as you all know. We shared that as we were going along with that. We did enhance our engagement and communications with all our stakeholders in the Central Valley as well as North and Southern California. We did make an effort. To Director Cava's point, there is always space to do more of that. Over communication is normally a good thing. I don't think we can have any challenge if we over communicate. And so that encourages us with your comments to continue to do that. While we were doing that 18-20 months, we also updated our outdated design criteria, which was not in line with what the Europeans and the Japanese were doing. That helped us in overall efficiency of the program and streamline our cost. The big one last year we had was when we were working with the administration and the legislature to get some stable funding. And thank you for Governor Gavin Newsom and the legislature that we got $1 billion a year for 20 years that did provided the base stabilization. With that, we were able to engage with the industry in January 2025 when we started talking with the private sector while we were working in parallel to stabilize the funding to engage with us on how they could participate in financing. And that is news that I want to share also today. While we were doing all of that, we also wanted to go ahead and execute different strategy, which included buying all our rails, commoditized materials that I was talking about since 2024. You can look at this chart and you can see most of them are either under contract or has moved on and are in progress. Some of these activities will continue in this year. You can see the IDIQs and all the other procurements that are going on. One of the big ones that we will be looking at is going to be about power generation, which is the clean energy solution that we are looking for. It will be, again, another effort for us to look at public-private partnership. On that, we advanced our conversations with some of those investors, and we are reaching a point where we are ready to launch a solicitation similar to a co-development agreement, so they can come in and work on a strategy for how to do clean energy for the program. That is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 months. We will proceed also with the construction towards Merced and also towards Bakersfield, barring the fact we still have to solve the issue of the location on both sides of how much we can build and how far the stations are going to be, which is a continuous conversation with both in Merced County and Merced City and Bakersfield and Kern County. We had also, when we came on redoing our strategy, we also looked at what are other challenges that the project is facing that are outside of High-Speed Rail Authority, its own jurisdictional powers, what we can do and what we cannot do. So we ended up looking at those as well, and there's a slide that will talk about where we are on that. Today, if we can move on to the next slide. So these were the kind of things we were looking at, legislative concepts. We got the funding done. CEQA exemption for renewable power is still something we are discussing at every level, where we can get an exemption because this is renewable solar or wind or any other type of clean energy, geothermal. So we would like to get our sites exempted from CEQA, and we can do just one-step process. It just saves us a lot of time. Same thing with permitting. It's something that is under discussion, that the authority can have jurisdictional power to allow other utilities to move through our property horizontally or crossing the rail. That's, I think, is in good progress. Also, we were looking at why we were having delays in the past because of right-of-way acquisitions. So we identified that as a significant issue back in 2024. We do want to solve that so we can expedite our acquisition process. When we talk about the Senate Bill 198, the only thing we are talking about there is really about expanding the opportunities of investing outside of the Merced Bakersfield. We have already said that in our business plan, we will build and complete it by 2032-33, the Merced Bakersfield section. However, if we will get, which is we'll talk in a minute, if we get into private investment situation where there is a possibility of investors to look at other corridors outside of the Merced Bakersfield, and they identify those corridors as somewhere where they can invest and generate enough revenue so they can pay themselves out, we do not want to block that. And right now, between the Prop 1A and Senate Bill 198, these two things are not possible to reconcile because one says build LA to San Francisco and the other says don't build outside of Merced Bakersfield. So we need to fix that in some way, working with the legislature. Third-party streamlining, it's a massive issue, has been an issue on this project. Director Scudia was mentioning how if we can find a way to put some cap on how much cost is associated with utility relocation, it's almost impossible for us to kind of frame it of what would be, how long it takes for AT&T or PG&E or any of these big utilities to move out of the way is unpredictable. And we have zero leverage on that. And so this is not gone away. This will hurt the program continuously. And I've been asking for this change since 2024. We got to work on this. We don't know where it is. We don't know where it's going. So when we leave this meeting, I'll go back again to the Capitol and talk to our legislature to help us out on this one. This is a significant challenge for the program to move forward. Of course, we discussed at length station area land value use in value capture concept is not in, we have not seen any movement on that. Encroachment permitting is something that is passed now, I'm hoping that we can get it. This really is all about making us to be able to monetize if somebody wants to put some cables and wires in our corridor. That's how simple it is. So this is moving now, and we are very happy. Senator Cortese was helping with that one. So that took us a little bit of time, but we got there. Let's go to the next slide. Big news here for us is what we said in 2024-25, that we'll be looking at private sector to invest. We did that strategy. We forced that in 2025 to the industry to get their responses. We got several groups who were interested in investing in California high-speed rail, quite the opposite of what the program used to be. So at this point, we do have selected to enter into discussion with a code developer who really will explore with us the opportunities to see which projects and which programs they can work on and finance and generate value from. So we are entering into agreement at a very minimal fee just to develop commercialization schemes and different projects. It will take them from here, which we call phase 1 of the co-development agreement, from here to 6 more months to come up with that strategy. So that group is known as CDPQ Plenary Group, which is on board on that. They will be able to enter into agreement with us with some contractual issues to solve by mid-June. So at that point, we will kick off our process of assessment of the high-speed rail private sector investment opportunities. The phase after that will be the second phase, where we'll be looking at more high-level investments from them. Once we agree to what the projects are in phase 1, we will come back to the board. We'll present to the board about what that structure looks like and get the board approval to go into the phase 2. Phase 3 is really implementation for private sector. So we are very excited that for the infrastructure, private sector co-development is now on the way. The next one co-developer that we'll be looking for will be in the energy sector, which we would like to do it towards November, December this year. So really exciting things going on right now. Move to the next slide. Our objectives remain the same. Phased approach, phased expansion, build when you need it. Don't overbuild, don't underbuild. So that has been the objective. We have found the private sector partners. There was skepticism when I came on board that there will be no interest from private sector. We do have it, and they are on board now. And the whole idea is to accelerate really the delivery of the program so that we can say we have built high-speed rail between LA to San Francisco in our lifetime. So there is a way to do it. We have presented that. We will continue to work on the next 30 months will be about identifying investment plans and looking at which areas where we can commercialize the assets sooner and faster. To earlier discussion, how the Japanese and the Italians and the Spanish and the French are doing, this is how they're doing it. This is what we do and what they do. And so California had the opportunity to think a little bigger in terms of what the public sector side can do and what the private sector can do, and commercialize assets as soon as we can. Assets for us are no different than something that you can put to work. And if you can do that sooner, you will generate the revenues sooner as well. Next slide. The co-development team that we have now, and some of them are present in the room here. This is the team. You can see all the world-class names, operators. So you can see in this investors, designers, train operators, system operators. They're all together combined in this consortium. And what they're known for, I mean, SNCF is the Keolis and SNCF are companies that do operate systems in Europe. This is what we brought with this group. You can look up their profile. They have been doing this for decades, investing in private sector infrastructure. So we are very happy with this outcome to have these partners now available to us. We gave them the notice of proposed award on May 11th, but they have some technicalities that will be done by the end, mid-June, and then they will be fully on board and we'll start the work with them. Next slide. I just talked about it, not to repeat here, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is the one that we are currently going to enter in agreement with them. Very small amount of threshold for us to let them go and study what projects they would like to invest, which will be then in phase 2. We will come back to the board. Phase 3 will be the implementation. We'll come back to the board as well for that. This is a big day for California High-Speed Rail. We did not have that. We did not have that since 2015. We did try tracking systems and other contracts in 2015, 2019, 2022. This is it. We said that we're going to get this done. We are here now. We have the private sector engaged, and we have track builders, track and electrification builders on board. Any questions? This was the end of my presentation.
Any questions for the CEO? Yes, there is.
First, Ian, well done. You're doing everything that you promised you would do, and it's great to see private sector folks coming in now. Just one question. One is, what is our investment up front with this group, and what is the potential return on investment that these folks could potentially contribute into this project going forward?
And so the second part first, I mean, that will come later when they have the feasibility done. For now, to your first point, phase 1, or what we are entering now, for them to come in and evaluate where they would like to invest. Our investment is in the range of $10 million US phase. This ends towards the end of this year, early next year. At that point, we will be able to see what investment model looks like. Then we'll come back to the board and say to authorize us to move into the phase 2.
Thank you.
Great. Now I think we move on to director's comments, if there are any. I do have one last comment to make. Again, thank you to my fellow directors for choosing me to be your chair. As I said earlier today in my opening statement, today was going to be a pivotal day, that we had those two important items that Ian just once again reiterated, the track and systems construction, as well as the business plan. I am so pleased that this board, first time chairing it, passed both items unanimously. I think it's showing that we are working together on behalf of the people of California to once again make sure high-speed rail is a reality. So thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.
Yeah. See you.